Section C. Directions. In this section you will hear 3 passages. At the end of each passage you will hear 3 or 4 questions. Both the passage and the questions will be spoken only once. After you hear a question, you must choose the best answer from the 4 choices, marked A, B, C and D. Then, mark the corresponding letter on answer sheet 1 with a single line through the centre.
Passage 1. Most people know Marie Curie was the first woman to win the Nobel Prize and the first person to win it twice. However, few people know that she was also the mother of a Nobel Prize winner. Irene Curie was born on September 12, 1897. At the age of 10, Irene's talents and interest in mathematics were apparent. Irene entered Sorbonne University in October 1914 to prepare for a degree in mathematics and physics. When World War I began, she left Sorbonne University to help her mother, who was using X-ray facilities to help save the lives of wounded soldiers. Irene continued this work by developing X-ray facilities for military hospitals in France and Belgium. After the war, she received a military medal for her work. In 1918, Irene became her mother's assistant at the Curie Institute. In December 1924, Frédéric Joliot visited the institute, where he met Marie Curie. Frédéric became one of her assistants, and Irene taught him the techniques required to work with radioactivity. Irene and Frédéric soon fell in love and got married on October 29, 1926. Their daughter was born in 1927 and their son in 1932. Like her mother, Irene combined family with career. Like her mother, Irene was awarded a Nobel Prize, along with her husband, Frédéric, in 1935 for producing new radioactive elements. Unfortunately, also like her mother, she developed blood cancer because of her exposure to radiation. Irene Joliot-Curie died on March 17, 1956.
Questions 16 to 18 are based on the passage you have just heard. Question 16. What does the speaker say about Marie Curie's daughter? Question 17. For what was Irene Curie awarded a military medal? Question 18. In what way were Marie and Irene similar? Passage 2. Have you ever heard of the Vikings? They were sea travellers from Norway. More than 1,000 years ago, they made 3 important geographical discoveries. The Vikings' first major discovery occurred in the 9th century. A man called Nadod was on his way from Norway to the Faroe Islands, north of England, when his ship was caught in a storm. The storm blew the ship west for several days. When the weather cleared, Nadod found himself on the coast of a new land. Later, Viking travellers named it Iceland. In 982, a Viking called Eric the Red sailed west in search of new land. 500 miles west of Iceland, he and his men reached an icy, rocky mass of land. They sailed around it until they reached the western side. Here they found some green areas, so they named the island Greenland. Then, in 1001, the Vikings made their most important discovery. the son of Eric the Red, named Leif Erikson, had heard rumours about land west of Greenland. He sailed west and soon found it. He and his men landed in 3 places. They called the first one Helluland, which means land of flat stones. The Vikings then sailed south and made their second landing. They named this place Markland. Their third landing was at a place they called Vinland. Leif Erikson and his men were the first Europeans to walk on the shores of North America, almost 500 years earlier than Columbus.
Questions 19 to 21 are based on the passage you have just heard. Question 19. What do we learn about the Vikings? Question 20. What does the passage say about Greenland? Question 21. What does the speaker mainly talk about? Passage 3. Where do you think you'll be in 10 years? It's difficult to know exactly where you'll be and what you'll be doing, but everyone dreams about the future. You might imagine the job you'll get when you finish school. You may daydream about meeting your life partner or living in a big house by the sea. In my dreams, I would have twins, a boy and a girl. We would live in a large 2-story house with floors and a staircase made of wood. Now, at the age of 46, I look back on those dreams and smile. Things haven't turned out exactly as I imagined, but I wouldn't change what I have now for that imaginary world. In college, I studied international business and planned to enter law school. In my 3rd year of university, I realized that I didn't want to become a lawyer. Instead, I chose to become a language teacher. I did get married, but had more than 2 children. We had 5. Do I live in the dream house with wooden floors? No, I don't, but I love my home, and I wouldn't want to live in any other place. I believe that as a young person, it's important to dream and make plans. However, it's also important to realize that not all of your plans will turn out exactly as you wish. One of the biggest lessons I've learned in life is this: be happy with what you have.
Questions 22 to 25 are based on the passage you have just heard. Question 22. What does the speaker think everyone tends to do? Question 23. What does the speaker say he would refuse to do? Question 24. What did the speaker major in during the first 2 years of college? Question 25. What is one of the biggest lessons the speaker has learned in life?
This is the end of listening comprehension.